Aloha, everyone. Joshua Hayes at BigWaveTrading.com. Did you miss me? It's been a while since my last video lesson on YouTube, and the reason for that is I'm extremely busy on my end on all time frames and other commitments. That also being said, everything that we said in the last, or that I said in the last video lesson has played out. I want to remind everybody that there are a couple of indicators that I have always used in my trading career to, well, not always, but that I have learned puts me on the right side of the market. And the first one that we're looking at is that monthly time segment volume on the IWM and S&P 500. I want to show everybody that great things happen in the market and my portfolio returns when this indicator is green. And this SPY one goes back to the 1995 mark, and you can see from 95 to 2000, great things happen when it was green. 2003 to 2005, great things happen. 2006 to 2007, great things happen. 2009 to 2011, this little period right here in 2013, great things happen. And in fact, it happened all the way into 2014. And then, of course, in 2017, it was a pretty clean market in September 2018. Now, unfortunately, during the uptrend that we initially saw in 2019, we had a red and negative time segment volume. So that kept me a little bit on the sidelines. But what lined up during that period, during this uptrend, which is very rare to see when the TSV is negative, normally when it's negative, price goes nowhere, consolidates sideways, doesn't trend higher. But it did do that on the SPY. It went sideways properly on the IWM and even moved down before going green. But the VIX was below 20 during 2019. Kind of weird. That's probably why I only had a few great long signals mixed with a bunch of mediocre long signals. That's kind of happening this time around now. The TSV has gone bullish on the IWM. It first went bullish on the QQQ on a monthly basis, which this is very good, guys. This is great. This is whenever I start swinging for the fences. And normally always swing for the fences once I get this green monthly TSV that I've been talking about in a lot of the other video lessons, but we're starting to see some gapping here or widening of the signal line and moving average line, or the lead line and signal line. Everybody calls it something different. So we'll call this the lead line and we'll call this the signal line. But you can see it's starting to open up like an alligator mouth, on the IWM, SPY, QQQ, DIA. You can see that alligator mouth start to opening. So that's good news. That's very good news for the DIA. But what's the little problem that I'm personally having on an end-of-day basis? It's the VIX. If you look at the VIX, you can see it's still above 20. It has not closed below 20 all year long following the sell-off that started in February in the market. It got above 20 in February and has never closed below 20. So, was it weird that we had a 2019 rally in the S&P 500 with the negative TSV? Kind of, but the VIX was under 20, and now here we go with the monthly TSV bullish, but the VIX above 20. Now remember those monthly charts I showed you going back to the 90s? Now, in the early part of the 90s, the VIX was below 20. Good things happened in the SPY. But in the latter half, it started to stick above it before we eventually had that sell-off. And you'll notice during any of those other periods that we looked at that monthly TSV being bullish, we also had a VIX below 20. Unfortunately, my trading career started back here around 99, 2000. So I have not yet been in an uptrending market where either the TSV and VIX I haven't been part of an uptrending market until 2019 where the market goes higher, but the TSV and VIX doesn't both confirm. In 2019, the VIX confirmed. In 2020, the monthly TSV is now confirming. So I believe it's either going to remain very volatile and choppy on an end-of-day basis, and we're going to have to live through that before the easy money happens, and or we haven't even come close to the sweet spot yet. The sweet spot will come when we get below 20. People like to call a market top right now. Is the market overheated short term? Absolutely. But I tell you what, guys, we see market bottoms when the VIX is near 10, not when it's 20. Now, can it stay elevated before then we do roll over? Sure. It happened in 1999 to 2000. It could happen again. But hopefully before that happens, we'll still have some big winners. But overall, I want to tell everybody the market looks good. I'm still very bullish on a longer term and intermediate term time frame. Breadth via like the New York Stock Exchange Advanced Decline line is fantastic. The percent of stocks above the 15-200-day moving average is fantastic. Went from extreme low levels to extreme high levels. Yes, are we short-term very overbought? It with the, like IWM, for instance, are we overbought? Absolutely. A pull back to the 50 or even this support line would not surprise me. It would still keep the longer-term bullish uptrend intact. On top of that, sentiment in the short term via the put-call ratio is extremely bullish. And there's other short-term sentiment gauges that I measure from Goldman Sachs. And we are very bullish in the short term. But outside of that, I remain very bullish on this market for a period of time. And one of them is because of the easy money from the Fed. We're printing money like gangbusters. Let me show you that real quick. This is M2 money stock, and just look at this. This goes back all the way to 1960. Look at the spike in the M2 money stock this year, thanks to COVID. Wow. Where do you think that money's going to flow? 0% bonds, 1% bonds, or the stock market where the dividend yield is pretty fat compared to those returns? And then besides that, here's the M1 money stock. You can see that it's really been picking up pace since that 2008 financial crisis, but look at it in 2020. So there's M1, there's M2, there you go. Because of the Fed's easy money, because of stimulus, as long as stimulus keeps coming on from the Fed or from Congress, and with a low interest rate environment possibly out to 2023 based on the rhetoric, the stock market should continue to see money flow into it. And so if that's the case, fortunately at bigwavetrading.com, I've got you covered on so many levels. All right, everybody. So just to let you know, at bigwavetrading.com, we trade on all time frames. There's long-term, there's quarterly, there's end-of-day swing, and there's intraday. Right now, due to a commitment, I am not intraday trading. That being said, I know what I'm looking for every pre-market, float-wise, price-wise, news catalyst-wise, volume profile-wise. And every pre-market, if I'm around, I'm able to tell our members what to focus on. If not, we have a couple of moderators and other traders in the chat room. They know where to focus. And then if you're still not sure, at the end of the day, Monday through Friday, I make a video lesson for all members, gold and platinum. And I review the end-of-day quality long signals and sell signals at the beginning of the video. And then we review the stocks that were in play in the pre-market or intraday once they start halting. I like to focus on stocks that are halting if they're not already in play pre-market. And with that being said, the day trades, the intraday time frame remains my number one time frame. But if the end-of-day stuff is also not your bag and you like longer term, I gave everybody a long-term portfolio name this week. I told everybody a stock that I'm very bullish on long-term. It's related to the online gambling that's going to probably be legalized in many, many other states in the upcoming years. They do the backbone for all of these people, and I gave that out as a long-term pick. Let's not forget Bitcoin, as it just rips and rips higher. It's still illegal to own in the state of Hawaii, but you can own GBTC. I said back in 2017 that if you wanted to invest in Bitcoin, the best way to do that is to put $100 in Bitcoin every month or every quarter. Put 100, 1,000, whatever. I'm just picking an arbitrary number for someone who has a small account. $100, $500, $1,000, $10, $1, I don't care. But you put a little bit into it every month and you keep adding to that into perpetuity if you think that Bitcoin is going to go to 100, 200, 400, 300, 500,000, because not everybody can swing trade properly. So we also have that. On top of that, we get the quarterly portfolios for annual and quarterly platinum members. You get that quarterly portfolio. That's 10 stocks, and this is how you're supposed to do it with any account. You have 10 stocks, you put 10% of your capital into each of these 10 stocks, and you hold them for 90 days. The S&P 500 is up about 4.5%, 5% this quarter. my big cap growth portfolio is up 10%. At one point, it was up almost 20%. It has lagged in the last 2 weeks compared to the overall market, which is a little concerning on the short term. But that being said, the big cap growth portfolio in just a month or just about 2 months' time is doubling the return of the S&P 500 by being up 10% compared to the S&P's 4.5 to 5%. On top of that, there's other portfolios like my strong relative strength accumulation distribution portfolios. So there's the 90-day time frame. But what used to be my bread and butter is kind of what you're looking at here. You know, these are percent change in my top performing stocks since they're long signals. You can see the names right here. You can see that you have your percent change, the number of days that they've been in this scan, and what their annualized percent return is. Now, what is not what you're looking at here, what's not in here are all the stocks I cut losses on. And guys, we have losers. Nobody has all winners, but the losers, we get out of them ASAP. I mean, the losses should always be, it depends on how volatile the stock is, because we always position size from our buy stop to sell stop divided by the dollar amount you're okay losing. But the rule at bigwavetrading.com is, as soon as you get long a stock, if it isn't performing immediately, you got to start cutting. You got to start getting out. Is it prone to more shakeouts due to the VIX being above 20? Yes. Is this an unprecedented uptrend that I haven't really dealt with on an end-of-day side before? Yes. It was like this in 2019. It remains like this in 2020. In March, I had a calamity hit me at Interactive Brokers where my limits did not cancel out with my stops. So stops got ran on the downside that never triggered and filled, which caused large slippage on the end-of-day side for me. So this has not been a good year for me personally on the end-of-day portfolio side. That still being said, what you're looking at here is the stocks that I'm still long or tracking on an end-of-day basis on the end-of-day side for the website. And you can see the average percent change for the names that we are still long or tracking is 28% gain. The number of days you were holding these stocks to get that 28% gain is around 38 days. And on an annualized percent basis, that's 185%. Let's say that we just reduce those numbers in half for percent returns to add in for all the times we cut losses. That brings this to about a 14% gain. That brings this to right around 92, 93% gain, give or take on an annualized basis. That's a lot better than what the market's doing, huh? So we have our quarterly portfolio, which kills it. I give you the long-term names, which doing well. Tell you how to invest in Bitcoin. And then let's say you're a big fan of ARK funds in your 401k. Well, then you allocate a certain amount of your 401k every paycheck to ARK funds. You allocate a certain amount of your funds into Grayscale Bitcoin fund if you can. That's if your 401k provider lets you do that. And you do that into perpetuity into your favorite names. But you know, the ARK funds is a long-term fund that I'm bullish on. And Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is another one I'm long-term bullish on. So that's just free for everybody there. But on the end-of-day side, we have plenty of winners. And right now, this is the first market uptrend, 2019, 2020, where I haven't been able to push big size into the names that I love. But that being said, look at all the winners I've given everyone. I mean, this is great. Let's actually just start with this one, OCGN. You see this white triangle here? When I get, so the long signals from the session before, it's not always like that, but once it gets filled, it gets added to this list and it gets tracked. And I can't just cherry pick that white triangle wherever I want, or else I would do that on stocks that I don't get filled on. FTSI was given to everyone on the platinum side as a new long position on this day. Do you see how it rips up and through what should be the entry point, the good to cancel buy stop plus 1 cent, the high of the day? Yeah, but guess who didn't get a position? Me. That's a 268% gain in 1 week without me. I don't count that one. GRWG, I really like this one. Here was the new long signal. It gapped up to me, missed my stop and my limit, and went on to run without me. 48% gain in under a month. I don't include that one either. Notice how there's no white triangle there. PLG was a new long signal here, gapped up, and when it pulled back, it missed my limit by 1 cent. And by missing it by 1 cent, I missed out on 169% gain. So guys, these are not cherry picked. These are new long positions. These are positions I got filled in. But unfortunately, in the last 2 years, I have been trading scared because not scared, but things haven't lined up. The VIX and TSV have never lined up. And my hot, beautiful chart patterns, which I'm going to show everybody one more time what they look like, what I keep looking for to load up on something in this market environment without the VIX and TSV both being lined up, is something like WTRG. What you're looking at right here on this day is the day that I went long, got filled the very next day, and I did increase size on it, but I didn't load the boat on it. Now, normally I'll load the boat on these if it's a more hotter sector stock, but water utility isn't really a hot sector. But WTRG, this is what this one ended up doing. There's its highs right there, I do believe. Yep. So WTRG, this is what it ended up doing, and it's only a 20% gain because it's a utility stock. But that being said, that's how they're supposed to perform. These are the kind of stocks that I load up on. Guys, right now, I don't have any chart patterns that look like that. But that being said, it doesn't mean you can't load up on these. Mara, there's a name that I've been long. Mara, since getting long to today's date, 320%. You don't get the whole move. Remember, you're taking profits on the way up and you're trailing your stops and you're keeping them loose via either an ATR or just multiple trailing stops. But look at Mara. That's a 463% gain. OCGN, from the time that we went long to the recent highs, 738%. There are so many like this. TWI, which isn't a recent one, but I wanted to show you with that volume and price surge. This one wasn't perfect whatsoever, but once again, look at what that volume truncation, that max green bop, and look at what happens. TWI. Unfortunately, once again, I didn't load the boat on this one, but there's a 260% gain currently. NNDM, look at where these triangles are. Here's one that ARC's actually has been buying. They've been buying it recently. There's a 198% gain. ALAC-W is one that I went long. ALAC-W to the recent highs, 280% gain in a very short amount of time. FRSX, we get long here. I don't think this was the long day. The long day was something like right back here, and then it finally got filled because it never failed its setup. There's a 432% gain. RIOT, we got long RIOT here, still going higher, 314% gain. CLSK was a recent long right here, 150% gain in a short period of time. NETE was a recent long, to the highs, 153% gain. But you're starting to catch the drift. There's STKL from here. We added to it here, so even from the add signal, 16% gain. LQDT, look at it from its entry here to its highs, 203% gain. Wouldn't you guys like to be a part of this? I mean, I would love to see you guys as a member of the Big Wave Trading family, especially considering how inexpensive the subscription cost is. Look at this gain, 129%. You guys can't make money off this? You guys don't think that $300 a year, there's also monthly and quarterly memberships, but for an annual membership for the gold plan where you get the quality positions, you don't think it's worth $300 a year? That's extremely inexpensive. I'm basically running a Christmas deal the entire year. For platinum, for the full access to the long-term holds, the intraday alerts. So after hour, we'll go over that here. Let's go and go over that right now. So like I said, it's hard for me to be around a lot intraday right now with the commitments that I have. But after hours, there were two stocks. There were multiple stocks, CLSD, DRAD, VTNR, BNGO, and then HOFV. But now out of all of those, what were the only two names that I alerted to my members after hours in real time? HOFV, and from the time that it broke out, so it makes a high back, holds VWAP, makes a high here, enters a squeeze, you're good to cancel buy stop limit order goes there. HOFV after hours on Thursday, 17% gain. And what was the only other stock that I focused on? BNGO, makes a high here, enters a squeeze here. Actually, let's go ahead and just get closer so you guys can see that. Makes a high here, enters a squeeze here. You're good to cancel buy stop limit order goes here, and makes a 30% move after hours. Guys, BNGO and HOFV were the only two stocks that after hours I alerted to my members in the chat room. There were no others. Did I trade them? No. I'm doing too much stuff on the end-of-day side, so I couldn't take care of it. Let's get back to those charts. But because of all this end-of-day work, right now, day trading is just a little too difficult. So this is AQB's signal. AQB, 121%. I'm almost done showing these. This is actually the last one, CLF. And from CLF's long signal, here's a low slow mover, 117 slow mover, 117% gain. But the bottom line is, guys, Intraday, BNGO, HOFV, only 2 stocks I alerted after hours. There's where your focus names. You guys know about the good to cancel buy stop limit orders if you're members. If you're not a member, you got to become a member, and I'll teach it to you. And then once it enters a squeeze, you put that good to cancel buy stop limit order out there for the intraday names, risking off the most recent lows or to the ultimate low. It depends. You got to adjust your size, accordingly to the dollar amount you're okay losing. Those are the 2 names that work. On the end of day side, giving out tons of winners. And guys, if you think that I'm cherry picking the winners and not producing the losers, I just told you, reduce those percent returns annualized in half, and instead of 186, you get like 93%. On top of that, ask anybody that's a member on this YouTube feed, guys, how many 100%, 50% end of day sell signals have we had lately? Not too many, have we? Basically, everything we're touching is working, and what doesn't work, I told you, we get out of immediately. So one more time, I'm going to let everybody know, I'm running a Christmas special all year long. $300 annual gold membership, $600 annual quarterly membership, and you get all of this. All of this information that you're getting for free, you get every single day with me because I post commentary, watch list, trades, and video lessons Monday through Friday. The only thing I can't do right now, and it will end this year, it's because I'm committed to something right now, something that I have to see through. It'll probably be in the middle of 2021 is when I'll get back to day trading full time, and I should be ready to go. I got DAS Pro working, connected with my Interactive Brokers accounts, all of them. Got to connect my Thinkorswim account. Plan on opening an account in Trade Zero. I'm ready to go. But the end-of-day stuff is working great, guys. And $300 a year, $600 a year, I'm sorry, guys. It's extremely inexpensive. I see how much these crooks are charging. I know one guy, he makes a shitload of money. He's made something like, $17 million this year. He's an amazing, amazing educator. But the way that they're scammy and just like pile on new things for you to buy. By the way, I want to also make note, I do not subscribe to anyone's services, but I watch everybody and I see how they add these things and, oh, here's a new thing for $2,000 and here's a new thing for $3,000. How did that turn out for Raging Bull and the people at Jason Bond and Jeff Bishop and all them? Oh, I believe that the FTC shut them down. I don't know if they're coming back or not, but that's how that works. There's a lot of upselling. Me, it's 300, 600, never changes. It's always the same. And, if you don't subscribe, guys, I would do these video lessons more and more often if everybody would just do one thing for me. I love you all and thank you all that like the video lessons, but I need more likes. I need more comments in the comment section. I need more retweets, more reshares, more likes on my social media platforms. I need more people to start following me. I have no incentive to keep making these free video lessons to everybody if people do not help promote me, if do not help promote the channel. And the most important thing you do is comment. Leave me a comment. And we'll end this video lesson with the free long position like I like to do in every video lesson. Now, first things first, I only have one quote quality long position for Monday session. So that's the one I'm going to give out publicly. But that being said, it's thin. This is a thin stock that you're looking at, OFLX. Its average 50-day volume is only like 74,000 shares. On top of that, since it's the only long signal, it's not like, it's how things work out is how they work out. And with that note being said, even though OFLX is part of a stronger industry group, it has a group relative strength rating of a B at MarketSmith. It only has a 67 group relative strength rating. The best stocks that I like to trade have group relative strength ratings. The stock is part of a group with a group relative strength rating of 80 or above. And obviously the best is like 99, 95. Think of your solar stocks, your electric vehicle stocks, which by the way, Tesla is in our quarterly portfolio. So this is a name in our big cap growth portfolio. But Tesla is a stock that's in a strong industry group. Its group relative strength rating, 99. So OFLX is not. It's only got a 67. But that being said, the other thing that I always look for the best setups is a high group relative strength rating and then a high short float. So for instance, Tesla has a short float of 6%. I consider that high for a big cap. OFLX, on the other hand, better. Has 11%, 11.4% float, according to FinViz. Short float, according to FinViz. So there you go. Thumbs up for that. Wish the group relative strength was stronger. Wish there was more green in this chart. Wish there were more pocket pivot point signals that you see over here, over there. But it is what it is. That being said, OFLX is a new long position that I'm giving to everybody. And here's how you play it. 149.76 is the high of the day. My personal buy stop, which means I only get long if it moves up and through the stock, is going to be at 149.77. And I give myself a 1% limit offset. And that is currently, if you do the math on this price, $1.50. So my stop is going to be at 149.77. I'm going to add $1.50. That'll be my good to cancel buy stop limit order. If the stock triggers and fills, my sell stop on the position will be 1 cent below the low of day, 140.23. And that's where I will stop out if this trade fails, 140.23. Now, how do you position size? Right now, I'm trading small. But whatever the dollar amount is that you're okay initially risking at the start of this trade, that's going to be your total dollar loss amount. So if you're comfortable risking $100 per trade, you take $100 and you divide it from 149.77 minus 140.23. You get that total, divide it into $100. If it's $1,000, you take that total, divide it into $1,000. Whatever number that you get is the amount of shares you buy at 149.77. If OFLX starts moving higher immediately, as it starts moving higher in this market, since we're overbought in short-term bullish sentiment, I'll start taking profits and trailing up stops. So let's say it triggers and fills on Monday, and whatever Monday's low day is, let's say it's around 150. 150 becomes my 50% stop, and then my final 50% stop. If it then has a big up day on Tuesday, I'll take some off. And so basically, I'll take a fourth off, and I'll add a stop below Tuesday's low day. So I would have 1, 2, 3 trailing stops, and a fourth would be off at the highs for OFLX. But that's my only quality long position, so I'm giving it to everyone here. That's on the quality side. But once again, want to remind everybody, if you enjoyed this video lesson, give it a thumbs up. I went longer than I wanted to, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to make another video lesson. And if I don't get enough love or feedback from you guys, it's going to be a minute because there's no incentive of making these. But that being said, every Monday through Friday, I never miss a session. I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to go long the next day. I give you the parameters, and I post it on the website before I take the trade on my end. Everyone can front run me on every trade. And even intraday, when I'm doing the alerts, I wait till the good to cancel buy stop limit order triggers. So on HOFV, for instance, whenever it sets these highs right here, my good to cancel buy stop limit orders here, risking to either this low or this low, once it's in the squeeze, you can start front running me and take a position here as it's consolidating before it breaks out. The same thing with BNGO. When BNGO made those highs and starts to consolidate here, as it enters the squeeze, and I put my good to cancel buy stop limit order here, risking to these lows or possibly these lows, you can start entering it here once you get that pocket pivot point signal and that squeeze starts taking out. If it fails, we cut our loss. If it works, bam. You get a nice, what is that? What time frame is that? 30 minutes max. You get a nice 30% move in 30 minutes. Not too bad. But that's how it goes. And with the quarterly portfolios, we all enter them at the same time. 90 days, 10 stocks, 10% of your capital. No trading involved for those that work. If you're longer term, I give out my long-term ideas often. AMD is one of my favorite ones, telling you guys all that right now. The new one, that's only for members. But come join us, guys. It's inexpensive, and I'm not going anywhere. I am older. I am old. I should say I'm old. I am 40, but I plan on doing this at least for another 40 years. Come join the family. You won't be disappointed. All right, everybody. Thumbs up, comment, share, retweet, subscribe, ring the bell. I don't give a shit. Do something. I love you guys. Aloha.